Take me home, country roads, to the place where it all began. Summit Point Raceway is where many road course racers first race when they join iRacing, and while the circuit often flies under the radar on some of the higher series, when it does appear, it never fails to put on a great show. Hello everyone and welcome to West Virginia, where we're getting set to watch round 4 of the Weekend Warrior series live on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Samuel Ryman, and alongside me in the booth is Bill Zahn. Behind the scenes we have our director Sean Ambrose, and he is using camera sets provided by Dougie Beard. Bill, when I first raced here on iRacing, I found myself going off left and right by thinking, I'm new to this sim, I'll get this place figured out. 5 years later though, I'm still waiting for that day to come. What is it that makes the circuit so tricky?
It is indeed a tricky course. You know, it's located in Jefferson County, West Virginia, 2 hours south of my nation's capital, Washington, D.C. It opened in 1969. During the early years, the SCCA held a lot of regional and national events here annually. Over time, the track began to host professional races sanctioned by guys like IMSA and the SCCA Trans Am Series through the late 80s. The main circuit is also the annual home for the Jefferson 500 Vintage Race and the 12 Hours at the Point, an endurance race I'm not familiar with. That sounds interesting. Rolling through the West Virginia countryside, this is what makes it so tricky, is it is 2 miles and the main course has 10 turns and a really long 2,900-foot main straight. The circuit, it has a lot of challenging high-speed corners. The good news is there's some friendly runoff areas and gravel traps, but you have to be careful not to take your car way off because you can go off into the ether to get them up in the trees. Some very technical, tricky carousel section, and the 400 feet of elevation change makes it fun to race. You know, if you're a real-world recreational driver, Summit Point is a must-visit destination. If you're a sim racer, like Sam said, this being free content, you've probably made already several visits here already. Now, if you're neither one of those, God bless you for watching this broadcast. And let's let GSRC give you a feel for what this place is like. We're going to jump on board an NX5 and take a lap around.
Attack and defend on the inside. Watch out for the over-under on the exit of the corner. The good news is, turn 3 is the opposite direction, so even if your opponent gets underneath you, since this turn switches them to the outside, they'll probably need to completely clear you to get the pass done. Watch out for the crest on the exit though, since it'll be easy for the car to push out into the gravel. Then there's this scary turn 4, which will need a little lift to keep you on the proper racing line. This leads directly into the braking for 5, which is sometimes jokingly called yard sale corner for how often accidents happen here. But now we start into the technical back half of the course with the carousel. It's going to be pretty much single file through here, but your run off of it can make a big difference in your lap time. If you get it just right, the S's of 8 and 9 are flat out, and you won't need the lift until the final corner. But despite the high speeds you'll reach coming up to 10, this is a surprisingly fast sweeper with very little braking. That makes overtakes pretty uncommon on entry. Because it leads back onto the front stretch, it's much more important to ensure you set yourself up for a good run off the exit. This should keep you safer from attack into the first corner. But if you kept it together, you've now hopefully finished a lap around Summit Point.
Well, that is 1 lap around Summit Point Raceway. How many are we going to see tonight? Can't give you an honest answer. There's a 40-minute race, so we'll find out. What drivers are we going to see tonight? Well, we'll give time to introduce you to the 24 cars that have currently signed up. But first, let's take a look at how they sit in the point standings after 3 of 12 rounds so far this season. We'll pull those up for you. And there you can see, quite tight, even after we're a few races into the season. And Bill, the United Kingdom being well represented in the top 5 there.
Oh, let's go ahead and talk about it. I didn't realize this was my part of the gig here. Yeah, Dimitris Houladoulis, he's been Houladoulis from Greece. He's been just crushing this thing. He's got 3 wins so far. Now, the guy who's been giving them the biggest battle is David Gaspers. Interesting enough, these guys both race in the Lotus 49, where they are crushing it over there as well. But so far, the Greece Lightning, Houladoulis, has had the best of Gaspers. Now, Dave is not here today, but don't worry, we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get down to the race details. Newcomer onto the scene, Ross Nicholson, doing really well. He's 30 points back, and Sam was happy to get some of these guys with the language that he understands. It's Jerry McAreevy, also from the UK, sitting back there, 33 back. And then we got a couple drivers tied for 5th.
Yes, the thing's still very close after the opening few rounds. As we mentioned, though, a long way to go left in the season. Let's take a look at the series details as well, Bill. Give our viewers an idea of where we sit so far in the championship.
Season 6 here. We've been covering these guys for the last couple seasons. We get them alternating races. This is round 4. We covered round 2, and we're back here for round 4. Now, there are 4 drop races. Now, that is a lot. That is a lot. So that's why we're talking about these points. Basically, what they're all doing is just positioning themselves right now. The problem with 4 drop races is for guys like me who never win, but if I have any chance for a championship, I hope to do it by the leaders having misfortune. For any of these guys that are not quite as fast as Hula Dulis or Gaspar, they have to hope for misfortune to hit not just once, twice, 3, 4 times, but 5 or 6 times. Boy, that's a tall order. Of course, we're in the beautiful open cockpit SRFs. Those are fun to see. Setups are open. Now, there's limited fuel. The tank is small. It's a 40-minute race. We expect the pit stops. They should be able to go about 30 minutes on a run. So pit stop anywhere between the first 10 minutes and with 10 minutes to go. You can do the math there. No incident cap, and there is 1 fast repair. They had it at 2 in previous season. They've cut it down to 1. We applaud that. Maybe next season they'll cut it down to 0.
And you talk about pit road there, Bill, these drivers being required to make a pit stop. Pit entry and pit exit are stories in themselves around here. Pit entry is pretty much coming into the final corner. If you overshoot it, you can slide back out onto the track. And pit exit drops you right out there on the front straight where the pack is coming by. So the drivers are going to have to watch out for their competitors today during that round of stops.
One of the interesting things about the pit lane here, if memory serves me, it is actually before the finish line. So if you are running out of fuel, you can actually come in. If you don't have enough, you can coast into your pits, take a little bit of fuel, and then get back out there and finish the race. We're going to take a look at Jerry McAreevy here coming around the forward pit lane, and you'll see that pit exit entrance right. Well, where are we here? Oh, we've gone by. Now we're on the main straight. There we go. You can see how long, Sam, this, especially in these little SRFs, it takes a long time. If you got yourself a little burger sitting next to you, take a bite of it. You got plenty of time. It goes straight.
Yeah, we're watching Dromo going to the first turn here. So currently what's going on, these drivers are in qualifying right now. All the cars out there on the track trying to set their best time. It's a 20-minute long session. You see how much time is left in the top left corner of your screen. And then we will be racing, as we mentioned, for a 40-minute long race. And the track out there, Bill, very, very hot, which means it's going to be slippery for these drivers and not going to have a whole lot of grip. And this car isn't exactly known for its downforce and mechanical grip anyway.
Yeah, you can see it's a very pleasant day. 80 degrees shouldn't be that much of a trouble. But, man, this West Virginia sun is pounding down on the track. 106 degrees. And that, for me, the where I want the most grip, we can stay on this one right here. If we're coming up to corner 3, I'm not sure. No, we're back in the carousel right now, I guess. Out of 3, where you can really force it, you end up in kind of the sand there. I think it's called the wagon wheel, if I remember right, the nickname of that corner. Coming out of there, there's some tricky corners. Also, corner 5 is a rough one, too, where you really got to get on the binders and hope the car locks up. Otherwise, you overshoot it, put it out into the, what do they call it, yard sale corner, where they have the big grass. They park a lot of the damaged cars. Yeah, speaking of a car parked on the grass, there's one right there.
Rather short lap to get around, as you mentioned, Bill. Just 2 miles in length, 10 turns, 1 minute 22.7 is currently the provisional pole time being set by David Gaspers. And we were taking a look at our order, our roster, basically, the drivers who have shown up here today. It's now actually up to 25 cars. Paul Hickey just joined the session. I mean, there are some big names here, but also a couple missing. There's still, though, plenty of competition for David Gaspers. He has a pole by 1/10 of a second, but when you look down the order, the top 15 cars in qualifying all within the second right now.
Well, what's interesting about this, don't let it fool you, and I gotta mention that I said David Gaspers isn't here. He showed up late. Good to see it. I'd be surprised if the German driver didn't show up for these races. He's usually pretty, his attendance is pretty solid. Yeah, absolutely. But remember, it's open qualifying, so it's a little bit of a faux qualifying time. You can steal some time if you get behind somebody at the right point. You can get a little faster if you're maybe not as fast as everyone out there. You can steal a couple tenths out there if you happen to put yourself behind somebody who's pretty quick. I like open qualifying. I think it's fun. I like it better than the lone qualifying.
Oh, I agree, Bill, but I do think in order to do it fairly, you do need a session like this where you have plenty of time. I mean, these cars are turning laps in less than 90 seconds and a 20-minute long session, you know, enough time for everyone to find some track for themselves and get a good lap in.
Or find David Gaspers and see if he can hang on to the back of him for whatever you can. Looking there at Antonio Reese.
I think I did used to use that strategy in the Miatas around here when they didn't do single car qualifying before that came along on iRacing, and you did group qualifying in a separate session. I may have stolen drafter for faster cars to pull me up a couple of tenths. You know,
a sleeper to look at, and Richard Yallen, he's in the pits right now in the car number 96, sitting third on the chart. Watch out for him. He's fast, but his standings in the points don't represent what a good the quality of driver that he really is.
Yeah, he might have had a bit of difficulty at the start of the season. Who knows? He may have even flipped upside down. Kind of hard to tell with the number 96 car. It would still show the 96 on the side of it. And Bill, talking about flipping upside down, one thing that is going to be tricky here is the first turn of this track. You have an awfully long run down to that first corner, and then a heavy braking zone, and you're getting a good view of it right here. Things can get very congested and very ugly in the first turn on the first lap here.
Well, here's one of the interesting parts about it too is first of all, you're in the tow, so you're not going to leave anybody behind. And then I'm not actually sure if these SRFs are actually up to full speed by the time they get there, even though it's a long starting run. If you have to really be aware of your braking zone on the first lap. If you're a veteran driver, you make sure that you work on not only where you brake into the first corner on a hot lap, but you need to know where you brake when you're just working your way up through the gears.
Entering the last couple of minutes of qualifying, David Gaspers is still out there on track to see if he can improve his time. Currently, the driver second on the scoreboard, Demetrius Houdelouis, is in the pits. He's not going to take pole. Trying to see if Richard Yarland is out on track. He is not. Paul Gooden is currently sitting in fourth. He is not on track as well, so things looking good for Gaspers. I'm sorry, Gooden is on track here. And actually, Gaspers is trying to get tow from him. Maybe this is Gaspers' strategy here, Bill. He's like, oh, I see the guy in fourth is out there. Well, if he gets a good lap, I'm going to get a good lap too.
I don't think David Gaspers really works much of that strategy. He has one thing on his mind, and it is the many letters that fill up the name of Demetrius Houdelouis. Houdelouis has been his nemesis so far this season. It was a great battle last season. Gaspers got the best of the Greek driver, but right now it's all German and Greece as they go at it, and Gaspers is going to bring it in.
20 letters, that is, Bill, Demetrius Houdelouis.
You know, if you could do like an anagram, I think that'll spell something like, if you break it all up there, I will win or something. If you. Well,
your name's only 8 letters, Soup. So there's not a whole lot you can anagram out of that. Now, checkered flag is out on the session, but you can see there's a bit of extended time for drivers who are on a lap. Although, no, there are cars on course still trying to turn the hot lap.
Yeah, the rules are with open qualifying, they'll let you finish that lap. If you get across the finish line before they throw the checker, they'll let you finish it up.
Paul Hickey will be the first one across the line, sitting in 22nd. Unable to improve. Jonathan Keir just finished his lap. He stays 13th. Jomo is currently 11th. I don't think he was able to improve.
Go to car number 68 right now. I'm not sure he's going to get his lap, and this is Ross Nicholson. He sits third in the points. He's sitting 18th in the qualifying order. He's not going to like that one.
Yep, 2 more cars. Gooden coming in. So Reese is the last driver across the line. Antonio Reese currently 7th on the grid and not going to move up, but that's still a decent qualifying effort. And I think that will conclude qualifying. So David Gaspers going to be your pole sitter by less than a 1/10 of a second over Demetrius Houdelouis. And we'll get a starting grid up. Here we go. Richard Yarland going to start in 3rd place ahead of a number 13 of Paul Gooden. Starting on row 3 behind him, we've got Jerry McRevi and Andreas Bertoni. McAreevy, apologise. Antonio Reese going to be starting from 7th ahead of Stevie Ray. Daniel Pinto, far back in the field. Bill ahead of another Daniel Sadro, starting alongside him.
In 11, it is Jose Luis Oviedo de Castillo Morales. We just call him Jomo. Jans Nordstrom is in the 12th spot. Baker's dozen position goes to Jonathan Kerr. Jonathan Kerr, great to see the UK driver back. I know him from way back in the MX5 World Tours many seasons ago. Cauliflower Love sits in 14th position inside of Marcus Burkett. All ribbons and curls in 16th is Adam Bradshaw. Christopher Patterson flanks him. Ross Nicholson, we talked about him. Sits 3rd in the point, 18th on the grid. Wayne Palmer behind him. Richard Gutowski in 20th. I'll just finish these out here. Ian Wilson, Paul Hickey, Brad Taylor, Edgar Santinelli, a little cross-pollination from the Absolute Beginner League. Good to see Edgar over here. He sits in the double dozen spot. And Travis Trussell in the quarter-century mark. 25 drivers. Hey, Sam, that's a pretty good grid here for the middle of summertime.
Absolutely it is. And, Bill, I've already got to start thinking about strategy here. I mean, I have a feeling when you're looking, we just went through the field, the top 24 cars have 4 seconds between them in qualifying. That doesn't sound like a whole lot until you consider the fact it is quite a big track. So some of these drivers probably struggling. Maybe they don't have setups as good as their cars at the front, you know, with the higher track temperature. We will see lap traffic here in a hurry. So I've got to imagine your ideal time to make your pit stop, if you're a leader, is when you see a lot of lap cars in front of you.
Yeah. The strategy for Gaspers and Greased Lightning up in front will be not to fight each other and see if they can cut the cars off of the train that will be on there, that will be hanging on their coattails. They would rather it be a 2-car fight at the end between themselves than rather have 6 or 7 drivers that were able to hang in there. Usually it's hard to break the train up until the pit stop happens. When that does happen, it'll go down a little bit. Yeah, you have to watch out for what my dad used to call the early peel, late reveal. Sometimes you can peel off early. If you make your pit stop really early at that very opening window, sometimes you find yourself in clear traffic because the guys at the back markers have moved along and you don't have to deal with them till later. Well, keep an eye on anybody who wants to do it in the first 10 minutes. I think most of them are going to wait until, like Sam said, when traffic becomes a factor. As soon as you see traffic, you pull in. As soon as you see the leaders in your rearview mirror, you pull in.
Worth noting, only 23 of our 25 names that we saw on the grid are actually on track. Ian Wilson and Adam Bradshaw not being shown in the session, so 23 cars will take the green here. And I mentioned that the top 24 on the grid, or well, I guess that would be 22 now, were covered by 4 seconds in qualifying. The slowest driver in qualifying was Travis Trussell. However, during practice, he turned... And sorry, Trevi is off on the pace lap.
Yeah, just heading into the carousel. He just pulled it onto the grass. McAreevy said, I don't, and he sits there. Oh, and he's gone. Maybe a hardware issue. But this may not be horrible. He took the tow. I would assume he would get to start then at the back of the pack if he can get back in his car. But he's actually not sitting in it right now. It's car with no driver.
Yeah, but to finish up a point on Travis Trussell, had he turned a lap like he did in practice, he would have started 21st. So it's fairly, you know, competitive. Anyway, pace car is off. David Gaspers already accelerating as they come onto the front straight. We are racing here at Summit Point.
Yeah, I forgot that this is a rolling start. So yes, they will be full speed when they go down into the first corner. But I'm surprised it's not bunched up more than it is, Sam. The first three stretch away a bit.
Yeah, but fourth on back is bunched up again. Very close, a bit of contact there. Antonio Reese holds onto it. Paul Gooden goes out wide, and after a good qualifying effort, Gooden dropping back far down the order. Jerry is still sitting in the pits from these tow from the carousel. Up front, David Gaspers continues to lead.
I don't blame Gooden for getting into the back of Reese. Reese has some awesome brakes in this car. I thought he was going to get in the back of Yalin in third. Boy, he dove it in deeper than Buddha's belly button. But he got it loaded up, and Gooden got into the back of it. They keep going, though.
And now, side-by-side action between Andreas Bertoni on the outside of Daniel Pinto. Some cars off at the back. Paul Hickey, Richard Gotowski.
Gotowski's on his lid. He barrel rolls over.
Well, he's back on his wheels now. Might have some driving back to the pits to do. Gaspers comes around to complete lap number 1 as they go through the final turn here. What kind of run is the number 1 car going to be able to get on them?
And here we are. This is exactly what Gaspers and Hootalootis want to do. I wouldn't be surprised if Gaspers lets Grease Lightning get underneath him here and make the pass. Oh, look at that. Hootalootis is playing the fuel game. He could have had that pass done, but he's going to sit back there and save a little petrol.
Change for 6th place. Stevie Ray just got by Andreas Bertoni. These two have been side by side a little early on here. Paul Gooden right behind them both, trying to recover from his early mistake. And making another mistake, Gooden put a couple wheels off there, and in fact Daniel Pinto off ahead of them. Gets back on.
Yeah, best battle on the track. Now watch here as Andres is going to make a move on Stevie Ray. Ray swerves across the tracks. They head down into 5. This is where they'll bunch up.
Oh, contact! Look at Jens Nordstrom spinning. Somehow doesn't hit anyone as he came back out on course.
He got a little hip check there from Carnivorous Love. They were going into 5. Well, we're going to see if we can take a little of this one, as Love did not live up to his last name there.
Yeah, I mean, what you'll essentially see, well, catching the end of it there, we'll get a different angle. What you'll essentially see is a single car spin, but it could have been so much worse than that, Bill.
Here it comes. Now watch, there's in the kind of gray car, that's Love. Love gets on the outside of him. We have this low angle shot. You're going to see it right here. Boop, and there we go. And he gets it turned back. Comes across traffic, nobody collects him.
Running in 10th place he was. Ross Nicholson sweeping through the grass, comes back out on the track. They all miss him somehow, but Ross Nicholson has just lost multiple positions for a slide in turn 1.
Remember, Nicholson is steaming from that bad qualifying time. He sits 3rd in the points. He would like to be farther up in the standings right now, racing in 17th. Yeah,
he was 10th at the line, Bill. A bit of a moment in turn 1 dropped him back there to 17th, as you mentioned.
Sam,
which is right about where he started, unfortunately for him. So he worked up all those spots, and now he's dropped it again.
Like Sisyphus and high heels, making the job harder than it needs to be. Let's go to 5th place if we can, Director. Car number 3. This is Daniel Pinto. He's pulled away. Let's actually drop back to 6th place. Really, Pinto was right ahead of Gooden, but this is the best battle. Gooden, Sadro, Stevie Ray, and this one, Stevie Ray now, Sam, under attack from That's Andres Bertoni.
These two have been going at it for a couple laps. Meanwhile, though, the leaders are running side by side. Grease Lightning burning down the quarter mile into the first turn and takes position number 1.
I told you to watch out for Richard Yolland in the countdown to green that we have.
Oh, but Gaspers back down the inside.
I'm really surprised that these guys are fighting as hard as they are right now. The biggest fan of this battle is Richard Yolland.
Yeah, and this is one of the trickiest corners to go side by side through, and sure enough, they've got it sorted out for now. This right-hander, though, Gaspers has the inside.
These guys know each other, they trust each other, and I do not understand, I can't wait for the post-race interview, why they are racing so hard so early with 35 minutes left of racing to go. Richard Yolland says, "You go, boys." And here he comes again. Is he going to make a move? That's Grease Lightning Hoodalootis in that Marlboro-flavored machine.
Yeah, well, the problem for Yolland, the problem for 3 of them, Bill, is if they battle too much, the pack behind will catch them. Right now they have a 3-second gap. They're not going to have that now, though, because they continue to the battle as they go into turn 1 once again.
And look at how hard Gaspers in the dark car, he didn't let Hoodalootis get back in front and have an angle in. These guys are slowing each other down. They are having fun. I don't think they're seeing big picture right now. They are thinking this is too much fun, and we have 4 drop races. Let's play.
Oh, yeah, they're getting very close here. One of them has to take this corner. You can't do this side by side, but that's not going to stop him. And Gaspers is going to come out with it unless Hoodalootis is able to hold the outside, which he is. Now he has a decided inside line. But let's go back to Andres Bertoni because he's gone off.
See if we can find Bertoni here as we're looking. Oh!
Yeah, he's back in 10th now. He was up there scrapping it out for 7th and 8th. But it looks like he's gotten on without too much damage.
There we have it. Bertoni was having a good run. He was in that battle, one of the guys we are talking about, in that battle for about 6th position. Meanwhile, as the leaders swap one more time.
Yeah, I mean, oh, and he turns into him! And there he goes!
And he gets Yolland.
And Yolland skating off through the grass. He's able to find the racetrack and get back out on, but he's lost a lot of time and position.
We'll get it right here. So watch this. This is Yolland in 3rd. And you can see the 2 cars up there, and Yolland almost gets by. They make contact now. That's Gaspers in the dark car. Hoodalootis, and then Hoodalootis just gets loose, and then he comes back on the track and just clips Yolland as Yolland tries to go by from 3rd.
Yeah, it wasn't the damage that really slowed Yolland down or anything there, Bill. It was just the fact he was in the grass and didn't have any grip. He lost a lot of time.
My parents told me you can only dance the tango so long in a china shop before you break some porcelain. Gaspers and Hoodalootis were just having too much fun, and now, well, there's a cleanup on aisle 5.
Well, Gaspers, it came off the best of it. I mean, he's still leading this race. He's got a 2-second lead over Reese, who has gone from 4th up to 2nd. And then 3rd on back, everything's still close with Pinto and a train of cars behind him, including Yolland.
Let's go to 2nd real quick, because this is interesting. This is a battle you'd usually see on the track. This is Reese being chased by McAreevy. But, of course, we documented McAreevy's trials and tribulations on the pace lap, on the warm-up lap. He's racing back there in 22nd position. Not a battle, for a position.
Man, 9th place on back, Bill. Sorry, 8th place, rather, with Paul Gooden. He's had other cars around him all race long, and now he's got a train of Spec Racer Fords behind him, and they better be hoping Gooden keeps it on track, because if he goes off, there's a lot of cars who are going to have to make an evasive maneuver.
And he comes right up onto the back of that that stoplight car, the green, yellow, and red machine of Daniel Pinto.
Pinto's been off this lap, Bill. He was in third.
Right. Yeah, you know what had happened coming out of... He missed a shift is what happened. Coming out of corner number 2. He missed a shift going down into the... boy, he never got it going at all. That's what cost him all those positions.
We mentioned this car isn't known for its downforce, Bill. It's also not known for its horsepower. If you do something that it doesn't like, it's not going to get back up to speed quickly. Good battle for third. Daniel Sadro being challenged by Richard Yarland. Remember, Yarland dropped to 5th when he went off. Well, he got 4th back when Pinto made his mistake. He just passed Sadro for 3rd. Give a shout out to Daniel Sadro, actually. Even though he just dropped back to 4th, he started 10th. So one of the big movers in the early top 10 early on.
Double bad news for Sadro. He just got passed by Yarland. And coming up behind him, Grease Lightning. Huladulis able to get that car back out there. Still looks pretty darn good. Little damage on the right front. The car still seems to be pretty fast.
And all this scrapping up front, Bill, means the whole field that hasn't been involved in an incident is still covered by 26 seconds after 7 laps. I really thought it would be a bit more spread out than that, but I think the slipstreaming is helping keep them glued together, as well as the fact that the leaders have been involved in their fair share of battles early on.
Yeah, you know, this track doesn't get enough credit. It's kind of like the neighborhood girl that dates a lot of guys. It doesn't, just because she dates a lot of guys doesn't mean she's not a quality person. We go back to 18th position here. This is free content, but man, this is a tricky track. We're going to go all the way back. We're looking at Hickey trying to run down Nordstrom. I wish GSRC got to do more broadcasts from this venue. Honestly, the battle right now, the intensity, Sam, is really 6th position. Ray, Pinto, where this is where it is.
Yeah, 8th place actually side by side right now, but Tony and Godden, these are 2 drivers who definitely have gotten their fair share of camera time today.
Yeah, I don't think there's a cork in the bottle as Stevie Ray's leading the train. It's just that nobody can pull away from each other. Let's move up 3 spots up into 3rd position. Yalin, and remember Sadro, he got passed by Yalin. Well, here comes Grease Lightning now, running those 2 guys down.
Yeah, Sadro has done a good job of being able to hold on to Yarland, even though Yarland was, let's see, do some math here, 0.6 of a second faster than Sadro in qualifying. That's enough that Sadro is able to keep up with that slipstream. Stevie Ray, first one to blink into the pits, Bill.
During the early peel, late reveal, really not that early. 27 to go. There's Stevie coming in. Let's go up to 3rd as here comes the pass. Sadro's going to get the run, going down into corner number 1. He gets it done. This is good news for Hudaludis. Demetrius's car has no straight line speed. He's going to be really good through this technical section. Look at they battle 2 wide here. That's Yalin in the white car, Sadro in the green and black. God, I hope that was green and black. Orange and black, the Halloween flavored machine.
Oh, they touch. That was spooky. And into the wall hard goes Yarland.
He was in the grass once already. He's not coming back from that one.
Well, he could take a fee repair, but he's not going to do that. He's actually retired from the race.
There you go. He's right on board. Everything's going good. He gets a little bit of a hip check. And it was tight racing. You can't see the car over on your left side there. And then he gets the bump. Take your hands off the wheel. Bow.
It's strange that both of Yarland's incidents, Bill, it really seems like his car has not recovered after the initial contact. I know these cars are very unstable. Maybe he's running the setup that's even more so. Meanwhile, Jomo comes into the pits. I believe we had 3 or 4 cars down pit road last lap around. So Jomo joins the early stops.
Ross Nicholson leading all the cars that have pitted, but he was... because he pitted from way back. There are some guys that were racing in front of him coming in. We can report that Hootalutus now has up into third. He has got around Sadro after Sadro made contract with Yalin.
And even though Stevie Ray made that early stop, removing the cork from the bottle, he hasn't removed the cork from the bottle. Daniel Pinto is now the cork in the bottle, with a lot of cars behind him still.
We don't need to go there, but racing in 16th position, it's Jomo. He's the leader of all the cars who have pitted so far. The top 15 yet to come in. How about we go to 9th position? This is Carnivorous Love in a battle with Christopher Patterson. Love started in 14th of 5 spots. Patterson up 7 in 10th right now. And I think he's got a run on him. This is interesting. This final corner really isn't a passing zone. You would think it would be, but you just don't have enough time to get there. But now, if Patterson can get a good run, and he does out of the final corner, watch him gobble up Love here.
As you watch him, you may see in front of him as well Andres Bertoni going ahead of Daniel Pinto for 5th position. And here comes the battle for 9th position as Patterson does indeed get by Love.
Next car on his hit list will be Jonathan Kerr. I got to give a personal shout out to Jonathan. Look at that car. Go to car number, what is that? As I'm going to say, that is Chartreuse. Is that what color that is there? Oh, it's orange. Okay, orange and yellow. Mom and Dad, I love you, but couldn't you have given me some better rods and cones?
I say that's gold, Bill. So
Okay.
if you have any Truce rocks lying in your backyard that aren't worth anything, please send them to me.
Let's go to 5th, up 3 spots from what we were looking at. Car number 19. Bertoni, boy, he has been under attack the whole time. Look at this, Sam. Pinto is on him. Good, too.
I'm just not entirely sure I agree with Stevie Ray's strategy to make an early stop. Yeah, sure, all these guys were hounding him from behind, but now he's going to be stuck back in traffic, whereas he really wasn't losing a whole lot of time, I don't think, leading this train around.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, he got Jose Luis Avieto de Castillo Morales came in, Jomo. He's still the leaders of all of our cars who have pitted and putting in some good times.
And Bill just read out 5 different names of the leaders who have pitted. Okay, maybe it was one.
It's just one. Oh, look at this. Pinto gives a little bit of a love tap there to Bertoni. Now, we just saw Pinto on Tuesday night in the Precision Racing League, the American iRacing Tuesday series. He put on a good show there. I love the cross-pollination where we see drivers in more than one series. Right now, he's
Bertoni,
all good. Yeah,
he was way off a racing line, Bill.
This is tough through here. Finding the line for a beginner driver, man, it's hard to find the right racing line through here. And this is a really important corner. You got to get a good run, especially in these underpowers SRFs. You can't lose any time at that point because you need it down this long back straight as they head between the trees. Oh, and we're going to have a pitter coming in. All right, this is Bertoni coming in. I would think that Jomo has no chance of getting there. Well, let's take a look. Car number 38 right now working through that last corner that sets up the back straight like we talked about. He's leader of all the cars who've pitted. He's on it right now. Will Bertoni be? Bertoni is in his spot way at the end. Now he's starting to roll. I think he's safely going to get in and out before Jomo can get there. Sure enough. So now the leader of all the cars who have pitted is Andres Bertoni. He's going to sort out in 12th position. Let's call it 13th as Paul Hickey goes by.
Yeah, and this really...
Oh, but look at... I was pretty darn close. There's Jomo right behind him, Sam. Oh! Under braking, he didn't want to get into the back of Bertoni, and he locks him up. Keeps it on the track. This might be a fun one to go on board with Jomo here. Yes, he was probably pulling his feet closer to his hips. Watch this one, Sammy.
Yeah, a bit of a close moment between two of top drivers, as you mentioned, who have served their pit stops so far. But what's significant about that, Bill, as we've kind of alluded to it, is they're far ahead of Stevie Ray. So I've got to imagine something happened to Ray doing his pit stop. Lots of cars coming into the pits at the completion of lap 14. Paul Gooden, Jonathan Keir, Chris Love. I've got no idea, Bill. You're more creative with Love's first name.
I think you probably got it right that time, Chris. I think you probably have the best chance of getting it. So let's go ahead, and while those pitters are coming in, let's look at the drivers who have made their stops then. See if they can come around.
Yeah, well, Bertoni just ran wide in the last turn, but keeps on course. He is, and they have a great speed advantage over those cars merging onto the track.
So check it out. Bertoni goes by, as does Jomo. Now coming out of the track, Gooden comes out, Kerr comes out in 11th and 12th.
And Kerr automatically going to try and make a move down into the first corner.
Man, I can't tell you how happy I am to see Jonathan Brayson back with him. I haven't seen him for a long time. I believe he is actually a sailboat racer, if I remember right.
I thought he was a comedian, looking at the first two letters of his name, Joe Keir.
Joe Keir. Oh, mercy. God.
A better comedian than me.
Please stay with us. Don't... I hear the internet's clicking off right now. Jeez. All this going on behind David Gasper.
Oh, Stevie Ray's around! Stevie Ray has spun it. He hasn't hit the wall, but he's lost a lot of time.
Right in front of Travis Trussell. Things are going bad to worse here for Stevie. That was working into that little back loop of the race course back there. The car just gets around on. Now, if you're not familiar with the SRFs, you turn these cars as much with your right foot as you do with the wheel. It's all about weight distribution. If you get off this lift throttle oversteer, the car will come around on you. If you get one of the weirdest things to learn, Sam, and I still have to fight to do it, when the tail end starts to come around, the way to get it to hook up is to get on the throttle. Strange but true.
Yeah, not just the right foot that can make a turn, but the left foot too. And Demetrius just had an off, but comes back on. Meanwhile, David Gaspers, our race leader, remember him? We haven't really talked about him a whole lot. He's coming in for his scheduled stop, as is Antonio Reese.
So staying out there. Somebody gonna stay out and lead a lap? Greek's Lightning gonna stay out there. Get about back out in front.
Well, remember, you have been saving a bit of fuel earlier, Bill.
Yeah, we'll see what he can do. Pinto stays out as well. Now Gaspers is clearly going to get out in front of all those other guys. And he starts to roll now. Comes out in 5th. How about a little love to the driver right in front of him? I haven't talked much about Marcus Burkett. Burkett's going to have to come in for his stop. That's a pretty painted car. Yellow on the right side, white on the left side, red down the middle. Oh, it's green. Okay. Green, red, white. Why do I even bother?
Oh, no, actually. Meanwhile, though, a good scrap continuing between Keir, Gooden, and Love as they went down the main straight. Keir has came out on top of that right now. These drivers have been racing with each other so hard for so long, Bill. I have a feeling it's they feel comfortable around each other by this stage.
Yeah, battle for 11th. They've made their stops. They're good to go.
Grease Lightning into the pits for that silver and lightning bolt paint job.
Let's pick up Gaspers. He should get him easily. Gaspers coming out of the final corner now. And Hootaloota's beginning to roll, but there goes the German driver. The question is, will he get out ahead of... yeah, I think he's going to come out in 2nd.
Easily comes out in 2nd.
Gasper's in 4th, and Hootaludus is in 5th, but we're calling all the cars have pitted. Of course, Sadro is the one we really want to watch. Sadro was right on the tailpipe of Hootaludus.
Yeah, so Sadro is yet to pit, nor is Pinto, so the two Daniels currently leading, and Marcus Burkett in 3rd. And, man, lap traffic really hasn't played as much of a role today as what I thought it would have, Bill. I mean, a lot of cars still on the lead lap. I guess that can change in the second half of a race, but so far, a lot of clean driving out there. I noticed we've seen a lot of incidents, but I have a feeling when you're driving a tricky car such as a Spec Racer 4, that track where you're right on the limit the whole time and track temperatures are quite high, it was inevitable we were going to see some drama, and it's been kind of calm. And Daniel Sadro is going around another lap. A lot of fuel in that 51 machine.
Well, I said you could go 30 minutes. So in theory, he can go. You can see the timer there, 14 minutes of racing to go.
So contact between Jens Nordstrom and Antonio Reis, and somehow they both saved it.
Yeah, that was coming. That final corner that leads to the back straight got a little bit of a hello from Jens Nordstrom. Antonio Reis said hello. They both kind of went off, but they keep it going straight.
Yeah, well, Nordstrom was coming into the pits anyway. Maybe that's why he was slow out of this turn. But yeah, Reis just got into the back of him, and it's not often you make contact there, get sideways as those two guys did, and get away with it.
Nordstrom comes back, comes in for his stop. And now he's out. Sadro has worked his way around Christopher Patterson. He talked about lap traffic. He gets that done. Again, I'm not sure what is. He's held up by lap traffic. Seems like a good time to come in. But Sadro, now, in theory, the longer you run the car, the less fuel you'll have in. And now he brings it down this time. The car is lighter. I know you start with the same amount of fuel, but if you drive the car till the tank is empty, then you only have to put in a little bit. You have that little less weight in there. Sadro's in. The question, I think Gasper's going to get him easily. The question is, will Hootaludus? Gasper's now coming out of the final corner.
Yeah, Burkett makes his stop as well. Daniel Pinto yet to pit.
Gasper's is by. Now, Sadro still parked. Hootaludus crushes him. Now he starts to roll. And look at this. Antonio Reis is going to get out in front. Antonio Reis gets Sadro.
I think that was a longer stop than you really needed there, Bill.
Yeah, well, the tank was as empty as a syrup bottle after a pancake social, but still, you only needed to put in enough fuel to go 12 minutes. Let's take a look at...
Meanwhile...
Go ahead.
That three-way battle we've been watching, Bill, is now a four-way battle. It's Godden, Keir, and Jomo is now involved in it, as well as Love.
Just to follow up, as you look at that battle on the point that Sam just made, Sadro's stop 20 seconds compared to Gasper's, who was at 12.
Contact between Love and Jomo spins around. Gets it pointing back the right direction, but loses a lot of time. Doesn't look like he's going to lose any positions, though. Maybe one to Brad Taylor.
And that's Jomo trying to make the pass on the end. This is a tough call for the race stewards. The question is, does Jomo hold the inside line or does he drift up? Boy, that's a tough one. Sometimes it's just racing.
All right, and our last of the leaders to pit, Daniel Pinto, is now in. This will be a bit of a longer stop than he would have liked, I'm sure, because he overshot his pit stall.
Pinto rolls. Sadro is by him. He's going to sort out in 6th place. He's got to really hustle here. There's cars coming at full speed. Godden and Kerr are right behind him, but I think Pinto's going to be safely into corner 1 ahead.
Yeah, well, Pinto's going to hope his tires are... And Godden drifting through turn 1. Somehow he saved it.
My goodness. Kerr moves up into 7th. These guys are putting on a show. They got to work to get to Pinto. He's got 2.3 seconds on him.
Another good battle shaping up out. Jomo came back out on course in 10th place. but he's not far ahead of Stevie Ray, who had some problems earlier. He's trying to recover. Stevie Ray up into 11th ahead of Nordstrom and Burkitt, and they're all very close on course.
See, Ray certainly has had his issues today. Qualified in 8th. I think he's got to be happy to only be 4 spots back from there, but he has had problems.
Well, as we enter the final 10 minutes of the race, let's give you a rundown of the top 10. Currently being leaded and dominated by the number 21 car. I don't think he's led every square inch of this race, but he's led the most of it, especially after things went south for a couple of his competitors early on. That's David Gaspers. He currently holds a 5-second lead over a driver who was hounding him in the early stages, but then it got involved in a little incident. Demetrius Hudeluis has rebounded well to be in 2nd place. Antonio Rees, he's also been involved a little bit in the wars today, but that being said, he's still up 4 positions from where he started. He started in 7th, he currently runs in 3rd. A good battle on for 4th and 5th positions right now, with Andreas Bertoni ahead of Daniel Sadro. What does the tail end of the top 10 look like, Bill?
Yeah, we'll hustle through so we can get back to that battle for 4th. Pinto, Daniel, racing in 6th position. He's about 5 seconds behind the Sadro battle. 7th and 8th, though, is under contestation here. This is Gooden in 7th, being chased by Jonathan Kerr. They've been at it all race long. They got about a second before we get to Cleophas Love back there in 9th position. And rounding out the top 10, a good battle here. It's Jomo. He's ahead of Stevie Ray. We talked about it. Nordstrom is in this mix, too. And Marcus Burkitt, a 4-car battle for 10. So that runs you through about the top 14.
Yeah, 19 cars currently on the lead lap. It was 20 until very recently. We just lost Paul Hickey from this race. However, that number is going to start decreasing, Bill. Lap traffic will become a factor for our leaders by the end of this thing.
And the driver conspicuous by his absence when we ran through there, Richard Yolland. I talked about it in the pre-race show. He's really fast, but once again, he's out of the race, sitting in 22nd. The driver does not get the finishes he deserves.
Good battle going on for 15th place here right now, Bill, between Nicholson and Palmer. Jonathan Kerr in trouble.
I think it's Palmer and Trussell here for this battle. Nicholson is up in 14th. And look at this. That's Trussell in the car with no pigment. I can tell that color. It's white. The 140 of Trussell, side by side. They are Cialis bathtubs as they go down into, I believe it's called Wagon Wheel.
Bill, meanwhile, though, your friend Jonathan Kerr, he's been struggling this lap. He started a lap 23 in 8th place. He had an off. He's down into it 9th right now. But let's not go back and have a look at that because he's got a lot of pressure coming from behind. Things are going to get dicey for 9th to about 13th positions in just a moment here.
Yeah, I think Jomo is hungry right now, sitting in 10th, looking to get up in there. He gets a good run on him. Closes up a lot of time as they head out of the final corner. Jomo going off and doing a little David Hasselhoff racing there off in the sand out of that final corner. Still gets a good tow. Let's see if Jomo makes a move too far back. But Sam, look at this. Stevie Ray in there too.
Yeah, this is really a pack of cars have been had an exciting race today, and now they're all running, trying to fight for a top 10 position.
Stay on board with it. I'll just report. We're not going to go there. I say that Bertoni is still ahead of Sadro. Or I'm sorry, Sadro is ahead of Bertoni as we ride on board with Stevie Ray.
It must be said, these tyres are starting to go off a little bit, I think. I'm looking at the whole field. Everyone's lap times are off by a few tenths off of their fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, if you change tires, it just takes too long. Yeah, you'll be faster, but you'll never make it up. The 40-minute race just isn't long enough for that to pay off. Maybe if you got up to an hour, you might want to think about doing it.
The battle for fourth continuing. Sadro took it from Bertoni, but Bertoni easily gets it back by. I have a feeling the intensity of this squabbling for fourth is going to pick up as we enter the closing few minutes of this race.
They're doing a little reconnaissance racing right now. Each Bertoni and Sadro each trying to figure out, where do I want to be on the last lap, which is coming up pretty soon with only 5 minutes of racing to go. Do I want to be following you? Is there enough time to make the snipe out of the final corner? And by the way, if you're wondering, yes, there is. These underpower cars, if you can get a good run off of that final corner, there's enough time to get in the tow and beat the guy who's ahead of you.
Dromo and Keir are side by side. Dromo almost running Keir off the track. As they come down to the hairpin here, one of them's going to have to give, and Stevie Ray's all over the back of both of them. Things getting exciting as they throw it into the left-hander. Dromo with a desired line. Jonathan has to worry about Ray now. Keir dropping back through that pack.
And now Jens Nordstrom back there. He's been watching the show. He would like to get Keir as well. So Keir loses 2 spots in the blink of an eye. And Stevie Ray has visions of getting into 9th position as he's working on the back of Jomo. Great racing going on for 9th.
The battle for 4th continues as well, but that's just a squabble between 2 cars right now. This squabble between 4 cars has the potential to get exciting a lot quicker. And look at Dromo trying to go defensive. He wasn't able to stop the run that Ray had, though.
He tried to get to the right side of the track, but Stevie Ray would have none of it. I think Ray would have taken that car to the grass to get underneath him, and he gets the pass made early. They get it all, everyone on the binders, okay, as they work through it. Let's stay on this a minute. Now, this is a tough one coming up. This is where you can really push the boundaries of the track here as this left-hander. You can take it off into the sand. Look at a little bit of a bump back there from Kerr. Here we go through here. Keep it on the track, boys. You can drift out there a little bit, kick up a little dust. They do a good job. Look at the run that Jens Nordstrom has, Sam. He might be able to do it as they head down into 4.
As they head down into 4, I'll give you an update that David Gasper's just crossed the line with 3 minutes, 20 seconds left on the clock. So we've got about 3 laps of racing left here.
That battle continues. And then there's a guy trying to get to the party, Marcus Burkett, back in 13th position. He wants to be part of the reindeer games. Right now, he's Rudolph. The director says he has a red nose.
And Bill says, oh, I wasn't sure.
Sure enough. Sam, you grew up in England as Rudolph. Does that translate around the globe? Does everybody have Rudolph? Probably not.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, Rudolph is well known in England.
All right, boy, Kerr makes a move. Now we're looking at, here's this one again here. This is nothing going to happen here, Sam, until the last lap. This is where this is really going to heat up, I think, which is coming sooner than I realized.
Yeah, well, I don't think we've really gave David Gasper's credit where credit's due today. Him just running away with the lead of us in 5 seconds over Demetrius. It would have been very interesting to see how this would have panned out had Demetrius not had that contact.
Let's go to 4th. This is interesting, or 3rd right now. Bertoni was taking a peek back here. Let's watch, because I believe we're going to get the white flag. Nope, we'll go around 2 more times after this one. Now, look how far it is till you get to the start-finish line, and it's right here. And you can see that Bertoni was not even close to getting it done. I'm telling you right now, Andres, I don't think you have the capability to get there out of that final turn. You want to be in front going down the backstretch.
Speaking of the front straight, here comes 9th on back, running down. 2 more times they'll have an opportunity into turn 1. Stevie Ray ahead of Dromo. Dromo looking to the inside. Stevie Ray's not going to try and put up a fight. Maybe he'll try and do some kind of crossover move on the exit here. As that's going on, Keir goes down the inside of Nordstrom, and Nordstrom goes off.
Nordstrom, he has been working so hard to get up there. He wanted to be part of that 4-car battle. You've been watching it from the whole time. Now, we talked about Marcus Burkett, the Rudolph, trying to be in the reindeer games here. Well, now he's being chased by Ross Nicholson. Nicholson trying to make up for that horrible qualifying.
And white flag about to go in the air. The final lap is about to start for our race leader, David Gaspers. He continues to hold the 5-second lead. He does have lap traffic in front of him now, but he doesn't have to worry about it too much. If he stays behind them, Grease Lightning shouldn't catch him. Meanwhile, the battle for fourth. Here they come, down into turn one. But Tony was using all the gravel on the exit of the final turn to get a run on Sandro. Perfectly legal. It's very often done around here. And as a result, he's able to make that pass stick on the inside, like you mentioned, Bill. But can he hold on to it?
That's the move. Now he's got to play defense the rest of the way. We'll have time to cover this one. We'll be able to follow the leader across the start-finish line and then get back on this one. Now, you got to be careful here. This is a passing zone coming out of Wagon Wheel, down through 4 and down into 5, but not from the run that Sadro had there. I really like the position now that Bertoni is in. He can play defense from this point on.
One corner can change anything in motor racing. David Gaspers hoping that one corner doesn't change a whole lot for him, as I can tell you there was a bit of contact between Ray and Keir further back in the field. We'll get to that at the end. Gaspers coming through the final turn, and a dominant performance here at Summit Point Raceway. The race win goes to the number 21.
Let's go back to fourth for Bertoni. I think he's got a large enough lead. And Sam talked about it. Kerr was in the wall. That was a sad news from him. Not sure if we're going to get this, but I think Bertoni, watch the run now from Sadro. I think he's too far back. It's going to be a case of too little, too late. Start-finish line coming. Give fourth position to Andres Bertoni.
Yeah, the battle from 10th on back, they pretty much completely inverted positions. Burkett started this lap in 13th. He's now in 10th. Nicholson started this lap in 14th. He's now in 11th. Nordstrom, well, he's still in 12th because he's in the middle of the invert. And Stevie Ray's lost control behind him off into the Ethernet, or whatever you call it, Bill, the cloud there. Very unfortunate for Ray. That's going to drop him to the tail end of the lead lap. And Kerr's spinning on the last lap too. He's going to tow it across the line.
Oh, the bad news for Keir is he was racing up there trying to be in the top 10. He's going to have to, it looks like he's going to be somewhere about 16th or 17th. Stevie Ray, it ends the way it had been going the whole day with a sour note. Oh, this was exciting. And all that going on behind David Gaspers, who had no clue about all the nonsense happening behind him.
Yeah, kudos to the entire field, really. I really thought there would be more of a role with lap traffic during that event, but some solid performances by everyone out there today. A bit of drama in the middle of the field, but at the end of the day, we had 15 cars finishing on the lead lap and 19 cars, including just the cars that were one lap down. And we'll get to talk to a few of the drivers involved in all of the action that you saw here today on the Global SimRacing Channel. We'll be back in a moment. Don't go away. Hello and welcome back to Summit Point Raceway, where we just witnessed 40 minutes of Spec Racer Ford racing action here, and there was action all throughout the field. Let's talk about the drivers first up front that didn't have any incidents during the race. Our race winner, David Gaspers. That was it. Everyone else got involved in some kind of incident. Second place, we had Hugo Louis finishing about 5 seconds shy of Gaspers. Antonio Rees moved up to third from 7th on the grid ahead of Andreas Bertoni. Daniel Sadro rounds out the top 5, followed by the other Daniel. They were never too far apart during the race, those two Daniels. Daniel Pinto in 6th place ahead of Paul Godden. Boy, he had a crazy race out there. Speaking of crazy, Crazy Chicken Love finishes in 8th position ahead of Jomo and Marcus Burkett rounding up the top 10.
You know, Sam was talking about everyone having trouble. When you go through there, pretty much it was all about salvaging your races. All those drivers did have incidents at one time or the other. Let's go to 11th. Ross Nicholson sits 3rd in the points coming into the day. He comes home in 11th. In the 12th position is Jens Nordstrom. These guys were in this battle. Travis Trussell, he finishes in the Baker's dozen spot just ahead of Wayne Palmer. Christopher Patterson in 16th position. All ribbons and curls in the Sweet 16 spot. My goodness, he was way up. He's going to finish the first car 1 lap down, and that is Jonathan Keir. Stevie Ray, we documented his trials and tribulations in 17th for him. Brad Taylor, Gary McAreevy, who had that trouble early on the pace lap, he has to settle for 19th. 20th position, Paul Hickey. Sam?
Yeah, Paul Hickey on back, all drivers that didn't make it to the end. Edgar Santinelli, Richard Yarland, who had a couple of, big incident to finish off his race. Another Richard, Gord Tatowski back there in 23rd, and then the 2 cars you see behind that, Adam Bradshaw and Ian Wilson, did not start the race. Let's talk to the drivers who had a bit of a better race. We've caught up with our race winner.
And I guess we're going to be able to talk with David Gaspers. David, it's Soup here. Congratulations on the win. You have no idea what was going on behind you, but yours was pretty peaceful.
Yeah, I think after that small collision, it was a lonely race. And yeah, thank you for congratulating me.
When we look at the big picture, I think the easiest way to figure out the points is between you and Demetrius. Who's going to have the most wins? He's got 3. Now you've got 1.
Yeah, but it's still a long season to go. It's only 1/3 done now.
He's got the best of you on the first 3 races. You won the championship last time. You guys battled not only here, but in the 49, the Lotus 49 as well. You're getting to know each other pretty good.
Yeah, I think we run almost all the races we do. We run them together.
Do you think that the lack of downforce in the SRF, because it's so much a driver's car, do you think that helps you when you get over to the 49 that has no downforce as well?
Not really. The cornering speed aside, there's not much similar in those cars.
Not similar at all. Interesting. Good. I like to learn stuff from you. Well, congratulations on the win. You got a long way to go. Good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
David Gaspers. Doesn't think there is much relationship between the two. I would have thought it would have carried over, but he would know. Who you got, Sam?
Well, we are going to catch up with our 2nd place finisher, Demetrius Hudelouis. And Demetrius, it was looking exciting there in the early stages, but then some contact happened, which kind of ruined your shot of taking the victory. Can you talk us through that?
Yeah. Hello, guys. Unfortunately, it is the track that I have felt less comfortable and confident at until this point, and I don't really know what happened there. I think I squeezed him on the inside. I don't know what happened. You may have had a much more clear view there, but it was an unfortunate incident which caused me the contention of the win today.
Yeah, it was a bit unfortunate. That being said, you've had a really solid opening start to the season. Now, though, David Gaspers finally has a victory. how do you feel things are going to pan out in the races and the battles to come between you guys? We're going to see more of the battling that we saw up front early on here.
Yeah, until this point, the winner is the guy that makes the less mistakes. Both in the previous 3 races, David made some small mistakes which cost him the win as well. So I think it will be a great season. We will go toe-to-toe. How would it call in English? I cannot remember. I cannot recall. Toe-to-toe, yeah. Yeah, and you should as well look forward to some exciting broadcasting as well.
Demetrius, it's Soup here. Why so aggressive early? Why were you guys fighting so hard early on?
When the finish straight line is so long and the toe is so big, you can just just stay behind the other guy and go for half throttle. So I think it's better to keep some fighting there.
Well,
for everybody.
Yeah.
For the
It worked out good for you. Richard Yalom was in that mix too. Did not work out so well for him, but congratulations on second place today.
Thanks very much, Shoop. See you again.
All right, Sam, I butted in there. I'll let you take the next guy.
Yeah, we got our 3rd place finisher, Antonio Reese. Antonio, you were in the mix of it all early on. Quite some exciting racing out there.
Hello, good night to everybody before everything, and thank you for the organization, the guys that organized this championship, and thank you to you as well, broadcasting. It's a very nice. Well, I was lucky. I got lucky because there was an accident with Demetrius and the fastest guys in front of me, and then I just tried to keep running for my life as much as I could.
Well, it certainly turned to be a very fruitful strategy with you able to bring it home in 3rd place. Just those 2 fast guys who keep trading the wins in front of you at the line. Do you think you'll have anything for them as the season progresses?
Oh, I don't think so. I think I have no too much chances. But anyway, I'll be racing. I'll be happy to be racing with everyone.
Yeah, there was a lot of great racing out there today. Hey, how tricky was it to get this car around this course, considering the track temperature was very hot?
Yeah, it's very hot. I shift maybe about 10 or 12 different setups to find out which one would be the best one for this kind of temperature, and so the track was like difficult to keep the car fast. We have always the car sliding, and well, it was not so easy to find. I don't do setups myself. I just have a lot of setups, and then I try one by one, and I use the one I can get the most confident driving.
I will raise my hand with you that I have tried that strategy before as well, and it's yeah, it works with different levels of success. Well, it worked for you well today, Antonio. Congrats on the podium.
Thank you also for broadcasting and keep us online. It's nice.
Kind of like trying on a pair of jeans. Oh, this one feels good. This is my pair.
Normally we stop at the podium here, Bill, but we got time for one more interview. Who you got?
And we're talking to Sadro. Oh, congratulations! Let's caught me by surprise. Let's see where the finishing order is for.
He got
Daniel.
5th, Bill.
5th. Okay, Daniel. There we go. Sorry, I had to sort it out. Daniel, you were in a mix. You had to really work today.
Yeah, I did. Never have I had such fun in a Weekend Warriors race. Yeah, just had some luck with when Demetrius and Richard Yalom got together, and that allowed me to keep up with them.
Pit stop strategy? Thought it'd run for a while?
I completely screwed up my pit stop because I entered the pit and I forgot to put fuel in. So I actually could have been 3rd today. I was kind of disappointed and mad at myself today.
Yeah, that your stop was just a tick under 20 seconds, almost twice as long as the guys up front. Tough track with the weather. The cars. We could see you guys. You could feel it from just watching you guys work in the cars.
There were a couple turns are really tough. The last turn, definitely. I know a lot of people went wide there, and the turn where Richard and I don't know exactly what happened because I didn't get an incident point, but that's another turn that is so difficult with these cars when it's hot.
Looking at the point standings, I'm not seeing you up the list very much. Have you not raced much this season?
I missed Sebring. I've raced the other two and have had decent races, but yeah, so I'm a little behind if you haven't dropped a week yet. Got it. Well, with 4 drop weeks coming up, you're just positioning yourself right now, so we'll keep an eye on it. Thanks for putting on a good show, and always good to hear from you. Thanks a lot, Soup. Thanks for doing all this. D'Angelo Sadro made a top 5 today. I think he was a little discouraged. That pit stop hurt him. Probably could have had maybe a podium. All right, Sam, let's bring it home.
Yeah, just enough time for those 4 interviews here today. And, man, they're very thankful to have us. We're very thankful to have them. Steve Ray, all the organisers and the competitors in the Weekend Warriors series. We love that they choose GSRC and come here and putting on great shows for us. We also like to thank all of the competitors that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts, and you will see them all listed on your screen. Additional thanks to Erica Coleman Jr. Lon to provide us with our music. See the screen for how to get hold of more of their fantastic work. Thanks to the team today, Bill, Sean and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, visit us at globalsimracingchannel.com. We're also on social media. We're on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at facebook.com/globalsimracingchannel, and Instagram at GSRC_gram. All of the upcoming races for our other series are listed on screen, so be sure to check those out, mark them down in your calendar, and don't miss another second of exciting racing action. Our next broadcast here for the Weekend Warriors series will be in 2 weeks' time at Alton Park. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.